Guys, listen to LeBron James on his exit interview for the season with the Lakers. Obviously, their season's over. No play-in, no nothing. Listen to LeBron on the pros and cons of Russ and AD in the big three.
I think the areas where I saw that we could complement one another is Russ being, the push guard that he is, being able to create tempo, me being the wing threat, getting on and running, and AD being a lob threat. I thought that we could be very successful in that, and also with our length and defensive prowess too, we could be really good. At the end of the day, the reason why we were not very good together because we wasn't on the damn floor together.
So LeBron blames injury. I think that's legit. They were 11-10, just LeBron and AD when they played together. It's not great, but that's their first 21 games. And as Dave McMenamin makes the point, maybe their next 21, they're a little better. Next 21, a little better. And they'd have been, 7-8 games over 500. Not setting the world on fire, but they would have been decent, right? No, they didn't play a lot. That's what LeBron's together. Injury.
Yeah.
LeBron's pointing to it. Here's Russell Westbrook, though, in his exit interview on his relationship with former head coach Frank Vogel.
I'm not sure what his issue was with me, or I'm not sure why, but I can't really give you an answer why we never really connected. Maybe, that's something that he has to answer, but I never, from the get-go was feeling like I was having to try to prove myself to him and my capabilities and what I've been able to do for this game. And it's unfortunate, but it's really not kind of out of my hands.
Right, what he's been able to do for this game. Okay, you just heard LeBron, you just heard Westbrook. LeBron points to injury, but then why is the coach fired, right? Westbrook points to a relationship issue maybe with Vogel. Bottom line is everyone's there except the coach is fired. Is this a good job? Key, is the Lakers' job a good head coaching job in the NBA?
Of course it's a good head coaching job. I understand what people are worried about LeBron James' influence on the Lakers front office, but clearly it's a good job. There's only a handful of these jobs available, and the Lakers is the premier job, and I'll say it, in all of the NBA. Who doesn't want to live in Los Angeles and coach the Lakers? And that's why when it's become available, people line up to get it. Yes, Ty Lue turned it down because at the time they wanted to pick his assistant coaches. And he said, no, I could go do something else. I want to do it differently. So, yeah, it is. And when you look at what LeBron James just said, LeBron James said that this team, injuries caught up to him, but he also mentioned the fact that Westbrook needed the ball in his hands to be the point guard. He would be the wing player, and AD would be the lob player. And then you heard Westbrook, what he said, that him and Frank Vogel couldn't get on the same level on what they wanted to do in terms of him offensively as well as just implementing him into the game plan. He never felt wanted to begin with, and that could be true because coaches are like that.
Key, what the hell are you talking about? The Lakers are one of the worst jobs in the NBA. It has one of the poorest cultures in the NBA. You just told me that
they just won a championship 19 months ago.
They did. And let me tell you what's happened since then. So Ty Lue turns down the job because they want to control who's on his staff. That is a problem. Jason Kidd, a guy who was on.
At the time they did.
But Key, that's still a symptom of the bigger problem, that there are a lot of cooks in this kitchen. You have Rob Pelinka, you have Kurt Rambis sitting inside coaching meetings, telling Frank Vogel who his starting lineup should be after this man's won a championship. You have Jason Kidd, who decides to turn down the job. You have Monty Williams, the coach of the Phoenix Suns, the best team in the NBA, that says, I don't like this culture, I'm going to turn down a job. You have so many people. You have roster moves being made for a coach who is a defensive-minded coach, and they changed the roster without really even consulting him, losing KCP, losing Alex Caruso. You tell me, when you have Jeannie Buss, who's trying to control things with Rich Paul, you have LeBron James and Rich Paul trying to jockey for position, you have Kurt Rambis, who is sitting inside coaching meetings, you have Linda Rambis, who is consulting Jeannie Buss, you have Rob Pelinka, who is in working his angles, you have Magic Johnson, who's making comments on things here and there. What kind of culture is that? How can you have any autonomy? It seems like Frank Vogel was the last guy to have autonomy. You have Quinn Snyder, who's the head coach of the Utah Jazz, saying, no, I'm less interested because they fired their coach off a tweet from Woj before they even had a chance to talk to their coach. What kind of culture is this? This is an absolute blank show. That's what this culture is.
it's a winning culture that just won a championship 19 months ago. You mentioned Monte Williams. You know why he didn't take the job? Because they waited too long and the Phoenix job was there, so he took it. It wasn't that he didn't want the Laker job. He wasn't going to wait on them to make a decision on who they wanted to hire in terms of going back. I'm just telling you, all I'm doing is giving you what I know. I ain't giving you nothing I don't know. I ain't going to come on my show and our show and talk about something that I don't know that's factual. That's all I'm saying. And then in terms of the Rambuses and all that, they've been there forever. They ain't going nowhere. We got to get over that part. They're not going anywhere.
Why is Kurt Rambis sitting inside? Key, can you imagine if you were the head coach of an NFL team and a guy who is tapped by one of your owners, who, by the way, was a head coach for your team, had a losing record, decided for 2 years, a losing record, a way below 500 losing record, sat inside your coaching meeting and told you what your starting lineup should look like? Can you imagine how crazy you would be? And then what do? Do you go to Jeannie Buss? Do you go to Rob Pelinka? Who do you complain to this about? Whose voice is actually being listened to when you articulate your frustration?
If this conversation is about Frank Vogel being fired, do I think that he was fired unjustifiably? Yes. He shouldn't have been fired. But let's not sit there, Jay, and say that this is not a premier job in the NBA. You cannot sit here and factually say that, because that would be a lie, man.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.